receive this word from a prophet
Mm-hmm.
for it to work for me, or rather for me to receive the prophet's reward.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm real. My mind is on marriage right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say it. I've not found the person. You know
Mm-hmm.
how he's
You've
praying
not
for.
found the one who is the one.
Pastor M is like watch and pray, and well, what I can say is that I know the color, the color of my suit when I will be doing the wedding.
Wow. Okay.
I even know the venue. The only person remaining is my wife. You know,
You'll be so surprised.
that's what I mean. That's what I want to believe. But
Because one thing my mentor keeps telling me, he says, Mungai, don't even bother buying a sofa set. When that person comes, if you bought something she doesn't like, you have to buy again.
you have to
So
buy
don't
again.
don't bother buying a sofa set. Like there are things he's like, don't bother buying that. When she comes, she'll turn everything around.
Everything around.
Please do come.
Well, I can't really say much on that because, well, I'm not married. I'm not married. But the thing is,
But marriage, from what I've seen, me personally, I think it's amazing.
it is amazing.
What comes to my mind when I think of the word marriage is uncomfortable. Uncomfortable in the sense that I feel this person will make me go an extra mile in pursuing the dreams and ambitions in my heart. Unlike the excuses I'm hearing girls give that, oh, right now you should focus on your dream, don't bother about me, you won't give me attention, and give them to your dreams at the same time. Unlike that opinion, me, in my opinion, is marriage would make me a way better man than I am right now.
I mean, I'm someone who really recognizes with the scriptures, and I think it's for me. I see scriptures as a lens of seeing life, and the scriptures tells me that he who finds a wife
Finds a good
the
thing.
So I'm saying this to agree with what you're saying. Every time there's a change, there's always an discomfort. You know, change and comfort does not
Do not go together.
Yeah, as they do not go together.
They don't go in tandem.
Yeah, so in order for your life to change and in order for you to be a better person, there will always be a need for discomfort in your life. And I love how you view marriage. I really love how you view marriage. For me, there are a lot of things that comes in my mind when I think of marriage. A lot of good things, a lot of concerning things, but I'd say God had the intention when he gave Adam Eve. You know, he knew Adam wouldn't do it on his own, and whether we agreed or not,
and God felt it is not good for man to be alone.
I mean, for me, I think it's really important to have a wife in your life, because all the people that I look up to, who like are in a place I would want to be, I can't subtract that part of their life, marriage, because they have done this thing. And then it's so amazing that all of these people that I know, they started walianza huku chini, you know, they walianza chini, like they never started where they are right now
from this organized house.
So for me it is always a process. It's a journey. It's a journey, and I just find it interesting that you as a man, or rather I as a man, God has given me authority over someone else, and I'm held responsible over this wife and over the kids I'll sire. And when I think of marriage, I really want and I really pray that God will put me in spaces where I'll get to learn more and more about marriage. So when finally I get to find the right person for me, and I get to God giving us life and grace, have kids, I want to raise people who will change this world, people who will champion God's kingdom in this world. So that's like how my envisioning of marriage will help me fulfill God's purpose in this earth. I mean, He tells us to be fruitful and multiply. But how can you be fruitful and multiply without
having a partner?
exactly
Way.
exactly
Wow, wonderful. I think the other thing that comes to my mind when I think marriage is, I live in South Sea, so aeroplanes keep passing. Yeah, so the other thing that comes to my mind when I think marriage is people skills.
people skills.
People skills.
Okay.
People skills in the sense that with some of the personalities that people have out here, you get tired of people and then you want a distance from people, you want a break from people. Have you ever heard of your friends telling you, or they were in a relationship and then he or she said that he wants a break?
Yes, I've been. It has happened actually very recently. Although it was not in a context of relationship, like a dating relationship, it was a friend of mine who felt like he needed space, you know, from me and from some people in his life. He just wanted, a peace of mind. He felt
Some
like
peace of mind.
yeah. So it's something that we tend to feel. Wait, are you asking me in the context of marriage when I'll feel I need that space with my wife?
So Nini, I'm talking about it because personally, okay, there's this Chile I met a couple of weeks ago, and she kept on bringing this statement up. She kept on saying that we are living in a canceling culture where if you bore me, I cancel you. If you tell me, today you as Brayo has decided to get into alcohol, I cancel you. Like, we are living in a canceling culture. And she was like, why do you have to keep on cutting people off because of 1 or 2, 3 things they're doing? Why can't you just be patient with these people and be like, see what you can gain from them rather than keep running away from the things that they do? Because apparently human beings are not human doings, they're just human beings.
Wow, that's, hey man, hey, what? That was so bright. It's something that, again, it has happened to me. This I dated recently, and as along as dating, we realized that there was some things in our lives that we did not work on. It's so funny, and I think here I'm in a place where I'm vulnerable sharing this, but I'm sharing this because I think it might help someone out there. So there's this Chile that I really liked, and we started dating and just seeing what future holds for us. But over time, we realized that we were depending on each other's happiness a lot. There were things that she wanted me to do for her to make her happy, and there were some things I would want her to do for me to make me happy. But I realized that I was wanting in myself, wanting as in I lacked. I was not whole by myself, so I we just had this.
You're trying to find completion.
Yes. Yeah, something like that. So I called her. We had this like long conversation, trying to understand where we are in this relationship, and if we are ready to commit on it. And we realized that we were not complete in ourselves. So I asked for like a break so that I could work on myself, and that she could work on herself. I have to admit it was an uncomfortable space, especially for her, because I think I didn't communicate well with her. So for her, she saw it as a breakup, and it left her in a very bad state. It hurt her really, really bad. So I'm trying to answer that with a lot of sensitivity. Your friend might be right, but again, she might be wrong, because there are some instances where you'll just see this friendship is not going. It's not going where I want. It's not taking me where I want to go. I have this vision, but the friendship is taking me opposite.
In the opposite direction.
Yeah, contrary to my visions. At that space, I think it's wise to cut this friendship. It's why I think it's wise to cut this friendship, because if you want to go in a certain direction, and this person is convincing you to go opposite one, or rather contrary to what the direction you want to go, then you guys, you have nothing in common.
You want to work out.
You won't work out. And there's this quote that I read somewhere a while ago, that surround yourself with people who are heading the right direction with you. So I feel there's a necessity to like cut off some people who are derailing you from your vision, people who are derailing you from your purpose. But again, that doesn't mean like anyone who like doesn't agree with you should be cut off. There are some instances where you will be making a mistake, and someone will be trying to show you your mistakes,
to put you back on path.
But we are living in an interesting generation where people are advised to like follow your own truth, speak your truth. It's me, myself, and I. We were told that is a doctrine that is not in like a kingdom doctrine. A kingdom doctrine is not always about myself.
So I had something came up in my mind while you were talking about stories za cut off watu, and I was like, I feel like there's that stage where where you literally don't know your identity, and mostly when you're young, you literally have no idea who you are. And just when you're starting to get to know yourself, especially in the Lord, I feel like that's a very dangerous place for you to keep trying to hold on to the old friends. And then when you grow older and you're aware of your decisions and you're not easily swayed, just at this time round, like umejijua and you know what you want and where you are heading in life, I feel like now that's a space where you can not only like this, like you can disassociate. You can decide that Brayo, because of 1 or 2, 3 things, I cannot take his advice fully, but I will always hear his perspective. I don't have to follow it. I'll just hear his perspective. He might be speaking while drunk, but there's a thing or two I might catch from that.
Sorry, I hear you about that. But I'd love to stress on something about that question. I think it's very important. It is important for us to understand, or rather get to know more about God when we were young, because that's where we get our identity. When you understand God, you get your identity from Him. And with that, it helps you to navigate life easily compared to when you don't know God and you don't know your identity. Basically, if you know God, when you know God, when you become intentional in wanting to know more about God and Jesus Christ and this all kingdom perspective, it saves you from a lot of this mistake that young people are making. And with that question, I'll bring you back to something which, if you open your eyes, if we open our eyes and see it, it's all about following. You realize that the smartest people in this world are the people who followed, and they followed so hard. There's this
Following in somebody's example.
let me put it into more perspective. So there are these philosophers that we know. There's Aristotle, there are Alexander the Great, there are Socrates. One thing with these philosophers, they lived their life following someone else's footsteps, which made them become greater than the person they were following. And it did not start with them. This thing started way, way back. It's the way the world was originally made to be. Following makes you so powerful. Following makes you so smart and so wise. Even in times of Paul, following was the culture. In times of Jesus, following was the culture. And I feel if us as youths, we get to understand the importance of following, there are some of these questions that we tend to ask ourselves will become easier for us to answer. For example, I feel like I should, because it's somewhere in my notes. Just allow me to.
By all means.
So there was this philosopher called Socrates, or Socrates, how like potaro, I will want to put it. So Socrates is the one who mentored Plato. And Plato was the one who mentored Alexander the Great. But you see, the heights of Alexander the Great, where he reached and what he did, he would not have been able to do that if he was not following, Aristotle.
Footsteps.
So there was Socrates the Great, and then Plato, and then Aristotle, and then Alexander the Great. But you see, it is a lineage of people following each other. So Plato followed Socrates, but Plato mentored Aristotle, and Aristotle mentored Alexander the Great. And we all know Alexander the Great because of the lineage he came in following. Where I'm trying to go with this story is that for you to be great, you have to follow someone who is great. For you to become more wise, you have to follow someone who is wise. For you to become, for you to become like, for example, let me ask you a question. Who's that person you really admire in life when it comes to your career?
Visually, I admire. Where is his name running away from my head? This guy who directed Avatar. Avatar Part 1, Avatar Part 2. That guy.
I don't quite know him,
directors of
but
movies.
the thing with this, or rather, earlier you mentioned to me that you are so much into, is it Zambian or Zimbabwean?
Zambian music.
Zambian music,
Pompey.
Pompey is like one of my favorite Christian artists,
Yeah. So Pompey has influenced me to listen to almost every kind of music that comes out of Zambia. I went to Abel Chungu, Mag 44, Mag 44, Solomon Plates. Now I'm listening to there's this guy. Sampa the Great. There's the lady called Sampa the
Yeah.
Great.
Now it's so interesting because if you try to like look where these people are coming, they are following someone who like already was somewhere. That's why they for someone like I've been listening to Abel Chungu and I knew him because of Pompey. You know, I knew Mag 44 because of Pompey. But you see, so for a creative like you, or if you want to like follow that path of musicality and all that, all those, all that narrow, you'll have to follow Pompey because that's the style you recognize with. You know, for example, someone who follows Pompey again, you'll even find that how the person writes his song or how the person performs is the way Pompey performs. I
Oh, in terms of performing and people whom have influenced how I perform, especially myself in poetry,
in poetry, yeah.
that is Solomon. Solomon who? There's this poet, he's called Solomon somebody. There is Kina Preston Perry, Jackie Hill Perry,
You see, so
Ezekiel.
yeah, so if you like take a step back and like look at your poetry and look at your pieces, you'll find they have something in common with those people.
Yes, they do.
So you are following those people whether you know it or not. And this is the funny thing. We all follow someone or something. If you don't follow Christ, if you don't follow your leader, there's someone else you are following. It's so funny that you'll find yourself, you will be following your favorite musician, for example, or you'll be following your favorite social media influencer. You know, we have been fashioned as human beings to follow. We've been fashioned as human beings. There's no one who is original. We are in this season in our church where we are being really taught about following. And it is making a lot of sense for me. It's so funny that even your face is from someone.
Yeah.
It's not somebody will come from a relative will come and tell you you look like so and so, you know. Even your nose looks like so and so, you know. So there's no originality anywhere. Even those people who have invented something, it is because of how it was done and they wanted to do it in a better way, but they had to follow it so that they can reinvent it in a better
Then
way.
to follow through the steps taken by
Taken
the
by
former
exactly.
person.
So it
Like
is
for them to create the sharp jets, they had to start with
you know the brand one.
the
If there's such a word to describe jets. What I'm trying to say is that it is in nature of human beings to follow. So for us to answer some of these questions, we need to follow someone. And you know, someone will ask, why don't I just follow, especially for us Christians, why don't I follow Christ? Because I mean, he's the one we are supposed to follow. Why don't I follow Christ instead of following someone? Because we know all humans humans are, they say to eyes man, humans make mistakes. We are not perfect beings. So you are like, why should I follow a man who will make a mistake? Why should I just be original and do my own things? But for me, again, as I've said, I live by the scripture, by the word of God. And every time I look at the word of God, I'm always being instructed to follow. For us to identify as Christians, it's because of 12 people who decided to follow Jesus Christ with all their hearts. And through these 12 people, the gospel reached different nations. When we followed Paul, the gospel, like Timothy followed Paul, he became great, you know. So for me, it all lies in following. That's how I would love to answer that question.
Wow, wonderful. Yeah, so I guess for today I'll have to call it a wrap for now. But next time you come, just know I have so many other questions for you because I feel like there are still things we need to demystify. And just enjoy these Christian conversations where we can talk about like real life with
Yeah.
real situations and in the most realness that we can, without having to make our audience feel like sisi tunaishi huko and then wanaishi
Yeah,
huko.
yeah, I hear you. It's something that I'm very open to. Again, as we say in Mavuno, we are real people with real issues, serving a real God. So we all have these issues. We all are living with issues, and I'd hate it at any point to see myself as a perfect human being or more religious than others, closer to God than others, you know. So it's something that I'm
You
very ready.
download first and then you distribute.
It's something that I'm ready to like tackle those questions and see how I can help others, you know, deal with them.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. So, to my dear audience, this is a humble request. If you have any queries, kindly I'll leave my WhatsApp number on the comment section, and also comment below and just say and give us your feedback. Tell us what you agree or disagree with, or ask us any question that you have on your end that you feel like we as Christians are running away from responding to, so that you can respond to it and hopefully be a blessing to somebody's life out there, right?
True that.
Until next time, this was Mungasards.
Maybe my parting shots. My parting shot will be follow someone who follows Christ. I think I have to sensitize on that one.
Look at
Yeah,
them.
follow someone who follows Christ. Don't just follow someone because I would say you should follow. Follow someone who follows Christ. And that moment when they stop following Christ or they do something that is not in line with God's instruction in the Bible, that's a place where you have to like, you know what, hold, you know, and try to like see if whatever they are doing are in the lenses of the scriptures. Adios, peace.